Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. You know why I'm not in Los Angeles? Because I don't want to be part of the problem. That's why. Here's my argument. LA is about 500 square miles, right? It's humongous. Most of the demonstrations and rioting span a few city blocks in downtown LA. You literally have to look for it. Now, has some of it spilled out into other areas and what's going on the freeway right now? Of course. But the idea of saying, not since 92, this is nothing like 1992. This is nothing like BLM and what we saw during George Floyd in terms of the scale and the penetration of a lot of the issues. So why all the attention? For the most part, opportunism. And look, I get why the drama is happening in Los Angeles, and you're going to see it in Chicago, and now you're going to see it in the nation's capital because of this parade to celebrate the military we're going to have this weekend. The city is almost half Latino. Reportedly, 1 in 3 of those are immigrants, and as many as 1 million in LA proper may be illegal entrants. So, of course, ICE operations were going to be controversial, especially when they do as they do, when they come in heavy and hard, and their choppers circling in communities, and the vehicles and the number of forces dressed like special ops. Despite the lawfulness of the operations, they can seem invasive, frightening, and destructive. I get it. And I suspect the administration wanted this confrontation and went there to find it. We don't know how many ICE arrests have taken place in Los Angeles so far, but on Friday, that was like the first day of the ICE raids in LA. They got like 121 people they say are illegal immigrants, okay? This was before the protests turned into rioting, which complicated the operations, of course. Now, I think the scenes on the streets may matter more to the administration than the actual operations. It's a huge win for them. The idea that you are in the streets fighting people from enforcing the law. We voted on this issue. The majority is in favor of enforcing the laws, specifically to get rid of illegal entrants who pose criminal threats. Now, arguably, is ICE doing more than that? Yes. Are they doing things that could damage communities and people who pay taxes and are living the right way even if they entered the wrong way? Yes. So the idea, though, of people or the local politicians trying to demonize enforcing the law is just a losing cause, and it's a bad look politically. The mayor saying, stop the ICE operations and you'll stop the riots. Really? You really want to send the message that if enough people break the laws in your city, you'll stop enforcing the law? It's a terrible position. So I get what it is and what it isn't, okay? Scattered protests, some bad actors rioting mixed in should not dominate our attention for days. We're being fed false urgency. I was literally just watching a scene of car drives through protest in Chicago, and it was running for like 2 minutes. Seriously? Now, why are they doing it? You know why. This works better for both sides and for the media. And they're going to keep feeding it to you until you stop watching. And what's happening versus what's not happening during this time? Are we debating solutions on what really matters? Are we talking about the economy? Are we dealing with what's happening in the streets and who's terrified? But we're not talking about who's been tarified. That's why misinformation from both sides is all over the place, all over social media. On the right, you got these wild conspiracy theories. Did you know George Soros is sending pallets of bricks? Guy's like 100 years old. Really? The mayor, Karen Bass, is a CIA agent. The riots, deep state. And on the left, fake stories claiming ICE was gearing up to raid an elementary school to kidnap kids at the graduation. That's what is really playing out. The battle of fringe agendas that has dominated our dialogue and now is dominating the streets. Magnified minorities where the few push fringe ideas, and the real problem is they distract from the common concerns of the many. And look, I don't get the move. I get the optics, but you know, the National Guard, the Marine deployment, it's $134 million they say it's going to cost. Really? Right now, when we're supposed to be cutting with what's happening in these cities, now is the time to have a parade? Look, I'm proud of our military, but I don't really believe that that's what this weekend is going to be about. And I think it could become another circus, and we don't need it. Celebrating the media is great, but is this going to be another distraction from what would really be best for the military in terms of looking at the spending and how to reapportion it and how to cut it? Do we really need another LA? Here's the point. You know what else we voted on and demanded focus and change, and we are not getting it? The economy. The media is forcing us to see terrified people on a few streets when they should be showing you who is terrified. I love that word. I'm taking it from my brother-in-law. He said it today. I told him I'd take it, and I'm taking it. Small businesses are in distress. Jobs are disappearing. The fear is real about that, too. Way more than what's happening on the streets of LA is what's happening all over this country that's not getting the attention. The national debt, that's an 80-20 issue too, meaning the overwhelming majority of us are in favor of it, just like enforcing the law with immigration. That is the chaos that deserves attention, not Los Angeles. Because while we focus on clicking on the chaos, Congress is getting closer to passing a tax and budget bill, despite the CBO saying it adds trillions of dollars to the national debt. And that this tax bill will once again help the top disproportionately and even cost working families money. Now, the pushback to that is the tariff revenue will pay for the cuts. Maybe. Maybe. I saw what the CBO said, but it was laden with ifs. If the tariffs stay in place over a decade and at fixed high levels. Reminder, they have already been reduced and removed many times. Why would we believe that those kinds of ifs will hold? We're told hundreds of billions were coming in from the tariffs. So far, it turns out the actual number is like 70 billion. And you have to ask, who's paying that? Well, the countries absorb it. No, not really. No. The people who are absorbing it are the same people who are going to get the least from the tax cuts, the working families that need the most help. So where are the Democrats calling that out and giving better answers? If people are going to get thrown off Medicaid, what should change? If Social Security needs to change, what should change? Where are the ideas? If this is what the tax bill is going to be, what would be better? The cost of products, shoes, home tools, kitchen stuff, apparel, Nintendos. It's all going up because of the price pressure from tariffs. It may pay off, there may be deals, but not right now, and right now matters. So you want to focus on the problems on Main Street, forget about the demonstrators and see what the economy is demonstrating. A recent survey by the Institute of Supply Management found that the tariffs are pushing factories to cut 8,000 jobs last month. Why? Orders and output fell. Oh, I didn't hear that. I know, of course not. Not over the cacophony of what's happening in Los Angeles. Instead of making arguments about Trump, the Democrats need to make arguments for solutions. This is the opportunity and the time. Get back in the business of better. Sell a vision for hope instead of just hoping that Trump fails enough to swing the pendulum back to you. We have to focus on what affects the many and not Los Angeles, not all the time, no matter how often they shut down a freeway. We all talked about gas prices, and then what happened? We got distracted. Remember what the answer was during the campaign? Drill, baby, drill. Have you seen the latest reports? Did you know that oil production in the U.S., by the people who measure it, is said to have peaked? So we can't drill our way out of it. There is no extra capacity. We are putting out the most in the world. Did you know that? I know. You would think, no, we don't put out any. That's the whole answer. It's not the answer. We're at almost max capacity. They believe that production will be lower next year than it was this year. Why? Well, you're at capacity, and now there's an added strain. What is it? The tariffs. Weighed down energy demand. OPEC has increased the global oil supply. Last point. If you want to focus on why this matters, what we're seeing in Los Angeles, I'm not saying that there's nothing to it. Obviously there is, and I hope it doesn't get worse. But I'll tell you, we got to focus on what really matters the most, not just what is a spectacle in the moment and what moves the needle about which side is worse in this battle to the bottom of this two-party poison. What I see on those streets is an alliance of various groups, many of whom really don't give a damn about ICE. But each and all of them have a very specific goal. to destroy what we are: our democracy, our institutions, our culture, to bring down the West. That is what unifies the anarchists, the far-left radicals, the far-right neo-nationalists, the Islamists who are carrying flags there in the front with all these white people behind them. The desire to burn it down. That is why I worry about fundamentalism here at home. That is what you are seeing. Anyone saying that these protests are mostly peaceful or ignoring that fundamentalists are standing front and center in the riots. Look, here's what I'm saying. I know I'm talking about it, I know I'm showing it, but I'm not there for a reason. And I believe it is a distraction and that we need to focus on what matters. And while it plays out, let's keep talking about what it's going to mean to the overall dialogue, all right? So, who are the main players? Okay, obviously, we know what the administration is doing, but this is about the governor and mayor in California. And they're making an interesting play here, which is to basically say Trump is the problem. It's about ICE. It's about what he's doing with the military. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.